Official start of the stream. Hi, I'm Alex, and this is Alex Makes a Game. This is going to be sort of like a Let's Play, except it's not really a Let's Play, it's more like a Let's Create, because I'm going to be making a game and streaming it. I want to just say this is not a tutorial, so if you were searching on YouTube for a tutorial, sorry, I seem to have tricked you by mistake. So I will try to explain some of the things that I am doing as I do them, but don't be expecting a complete programming tutorial. On that, this is for entertainment purposes only. On that note, let's get started. I already have a general idea of what I want to do. New. We're going to call it Project Fog Mansion, or just Fog Mansion. Which is, I gotta check this really quick. It was for the message you told me to send. Hi. My one viewer so far. That is you. Fog Mansion. And the idea comes from somebody by the username of Jojo. It's basically a first-person game taking place in a mansion, which is filled with fog. It might not actually be fog. In the end, it might actually just end up being darkness, but the point is you have limited visibility, and your visibility is constantly shrinking unless you find lanterns. The lanterns will push the fog back, and what's this? Yes. The lanterns will push the fog back and make it more easy to see. Your goal is to find a key hidden somewhere in the mansion, and then with the key, you move on to the next room. There are monsters, because this is somewhat of a horror-ish game, well, more like a jump scare game, but there are monsters, and they are obscured by the fog. To make the... And you won't have any guns. It will be a sword. It will be a first-person slasher sort of thing. What else? In order to make my life easier, and to make everything just happen much quicker, I'm not going to be making the enemies or objects 3D models. They are instead going to be drawings I'm going to do in GIMP, which will be turned into sprites. The sprites will constantly be facing towards the screen, kind of like in, classic Doom. With that, I'll get started. First thing I want to do is create my player object. Actually, hang on. In order to do that, I'm going to need to import some stuff that Unity has already made for me. Messages are so delayed. Yeah, you don't really need to respond to me. The reason I have these this chat here is so suggestions can be made for the game, or for questions to be asked, I guess. Like maybe in case you don't quite understand what I'm doing, or it's basically just another channel for interaction. So, yeah. The delay. Don't worry about the delay. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm sorry. So yeah, don't try to have a conversation with me. Just maybe have some interjections sometimes. With it. Wait, what? Stop the delay. What do you mean stop the delay? Okay, forget about the delay. Let's just get on with this. When I upload this to YouTube, I'll probably edit this part out. Anyhow, I need blah, blah. Okay. I'm going to do the direct approach. It has been stated. Anyhow, now that I gotta focus now. I'm going to import a package that Unity has already created. This will come with code for, well, I thought I just did. It's supposed to come with code that includes basic first-person movement options. That apparently did not happen. Let's try that again. Okay, it's working now. Ding. Importing small assets. I'm probably going to delete some things that this is importing because I don't need everything in there. So inside standard assets, I've got, whoa, that's extra stuff that I only need a few things. Anyhow, I'll first create a floor for him to stand on, and I'll stretch it just so I can test the basic movement stuff. I'll explain what a prefab is later, but okay, I can just tell you what a prefab is now. A prefab is an object that has already been created and that you can reuse multiple times. And anytime you make a change to the prefab, every instance of the prefab will be changed at once. And that's extremely useful for creating, for example, enemies. So anyhow, now I have this here. The game is going to be displayed here in this other one. So as you can see, it already comes with some basic first-person movement code that I don't have to write myself. Don't worry, I will be writing other code myself, you can believe that. So I'm going to make this prefab sort of mine, so I'm going to rename it player prefab and create yes. Welcome back. I'm going to create player prefab here, or rather I'm making a copy of this prefab and making a new prefab. And it's called player prefab, and it will be the prefab of the player. So I think at this point, yes? I see. Anyhow, at this point I think I should explain what prefabs exactly are and what game objects are. Game objects are things in Unity that have a position. They have a position inside the current scene or room. The cool thing about game objects is you can add components to them which describe how they behave. So, for example, if I want to make this game object that I've just created visible, I can add a rendering component to it, like a sprite renderer. And it will render a sprite that I choose, like this arrow. And poof, now this game object is represented in this scene by this sprite, the arrow sprite. I can also add, actually I can show you what it looks like in game too. And this is what the bad guys are going to look like, except they're going to always rotate towards the camera. What was I saying? That's right, components. You can also add components that will control the behavior of the object. Like say, for example, I want this object to obey the laws of physics. I'll add a rigid body to it, and then it will simulate, it will run a physics simulation during the game. which means it will have, for instance, gravity. It doesn't have collision yet. If you want it to have collision, you need to add another component called a collider. This will... Hello? Internet's being a butt. Sorry to interrupt, but not much. Anyway. So this added a box collider, which will now the game will now treat this object as if it were shaped like the collider. This is for optimization purposes and stuff. And I can run into it and push it away. Unity does all that for me, and apparently I'm falling. I must have walked right off of my box. Okay. Anyhow, what was that? Ooh, that's unfortunate. Looks like I have no viewers now. Oh. Looks like I have no viewers now, but that's okay because I'm recording it. As I was saying, so yes, components will modify the behavior of game objects, and components don't just need to be limited to built-in stuff. I can write my own scripts, and those will define how the game object behaves as well. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but game objects can have multiple components that all work at the same time. And so back to prefabs. A prefab is just a game object that has been saved and can be reused. That's all that is. It's important to distinguish between game objects and components, though. But enough about that. Let's get to customizing the player. So I'm going to want to change... What do I want to change? What's this message? Oh, now the internet works? Well, welcome back. Anyhow, I'm going to want to change the friction here. Oh, wait a minute, no, it's not the friction that's causing this problem. Because as you can see, my character is sliding when... Okay, I guess you can't see my button presses, but my character is sliding when I release the forward button. That is not intentional, and at first you might think it was the player object's fault, you might think it was the rigid body's fault. Probably isn't, actually. It's probably somewhere in the input settings. It's treating my forward button as if it were an analog stick, and we can't have that. So I need to change the gravity to 1000. All that does is it treats the horizontal button and the vertical button as if it snaps straight back to the point. And now that I've done that, he doesn't slide nearly as much. Still slides a little bit because he's got inertia, but it's fine. It's fine for now, and I won't change it unless I need to. I should probably save this in a new folder. Call it unimaginatively test scene. And now I just need to make sure I don't have a billion test scenes on this list right here from other games. Anyhow. While you were offline, did you catch my explanation of game objects and components? Just let me know in the chat. And then I'm not going to reiterate it, but you can watch the recordings of it. So now I've got the basic movement down. I I guess the next step would be to make like a room space to walk around in. So in order to do that, I'm going to need an add-on from the asset store. Oh, what's this? Okay, I won't repeat it. I'm going to want an asset from the asset store, which is called ProBuilder. ProBuilder Basic, and it will make it easy for me to create level geometry and stuff. This will be the only thing that's in 3D in my game. The level geometry, that is. So, ProBuilder Basic Asset. Actually, wait, no. I can just do it from here. Where is Asset Store? I'm looking for... I swear to God, it was on here somewhere. There it is. Now look for the assets that I already have. ProBuilder Basic. Okay. Hey, go away, menu. Update, I guess. And this will allow me to do some really cool things with level editing once it imports. Alright, let's get out of the asset store. Hopefully that's the only thing we'll need to grab. Hey, come on, close this tab. Close this tab. What's going on? Why won't it close the tab? No matter. Just open this. Put this here. And somehow get rid of this tab! Okay, looks like I have a useless tab. That's gonna be bothering me so much. We'll save. So now I'm going to add a room sort of cube using ProBuilder. So Control K will create my cube. And I'm going to do something amazing. I'm going to turn this cube inside out. Watch this. This cube is now inside out. And now I can grab its faces and move them separately, like this. If this looks like the Portal 2 puzzle creator, good, because that's kind of what I'm going for. Well, I say that as if I invented it. I did not invent this. But, oh, and it's not solid. I forgot about that. I need to make it solid. And there is a different way to do that with ProBuilder. It's different from normal cubes. Let's see here. Alright. What's she doing? Anyhow, gotta make it solid somehow. Duh. Add collider right here. Mesh collider. It has to be a mesh collider, not a box collider, just because that's not working. Box collider? Nope, box collider's not working. Oh, wait, where's the player? Player, oh, the player's not even in the room. That would be why. And now he's slightly, there we go. Oh, that didn't work. Can you try changing the, oh. Anyway. he is currently falling through the floor. So how about instead of a box collider, we change it to a mesh collider. And now I am successfully inside the room. And I'm stuck to the walls. And that was a bug that I encountered earlier that I can fix if I remember how. Refreshing the stream again. Alright, so now I'm in a room and I've got a player character, and we're all gravy. I'll save that. And I'm actually going to delve into some code and fix a bug really quick, because what's happening is I am getting stuck on the walls here, and that's probably because it's not used to me using these inverted cube sort of things for the rooms. It's probably not used to me doing that, so I'm going to finally open some code and fix a bug. Cool. Awesome. Did you change the settings? Did you change somebody's settings? Anyhow, while we're waiting for Visual Studio to open, let me recap. Like I was saying, let me recap. I created a first-person controller object. Oh, and it's open. I created a first-person controller object, which is basically my player's object. And I'm reusing code that Unity has already written for me. And then I also added an inside-out cube here. This inside-out cube is the room that is going to take place, that everything is going to take place in. This is how I'm going to make my levels. They're all going to be made of inside-out cubes that are stretched and resized and connected to each other. But right now I have a bug where I'm getting stuck to the walls. Probably because, yeah, see, I'm getting stuck to the walls and sliding in that direction. And that's probably because the code that Unity has already written doesn't like inside-out cubes. So I'm going to fix that inside the code. And what did you just say? The cubes need to be inside-out, so I can... Here's what a non-inside-out cube looks like. It's the kind of thing that my character was standing on earlier. Actually, I'm going to add just a temporary placeholder sprite to my player object because I can't see him right now. Okay, this is my player object. Ignore the sprite. Well, or don't, because you need to know where he is. I'm going to place him on top of this cube. This is what having a non-inside-out cube does. And I fell through it. Let's try this again. Why am I falling through it? I'm probably not... Oh, I'm not even lined up with it correctly. Aligning things can be tricky in 3D, but that's why we have multiple views. Anyhow, now I am standing on top of this cube because it is not inside out. But this inside out cube allows me to pass through it on the outside, but not on the inside. And basically allows me to have a room that I can be inside without having to build 6 separate walls. I can just make a cube, turn it inside out, and then resize it. Also, having it inside out makes it useful for me to see inside of it when I'm editing the level. But anyhow, away from the inside out cubes, I need to fix this bug. And this is code that I have not written, but I fixed this bug in this same code before, so I'm pretty sure it has to do with the fact that it thinks it's on the ground. It thinks it's in the air when it isn't. And because when it's in the air, you lose control. Yeah, you lose control of yourself when you're in the air. Actually, I might not even need to go into the code to fix this. I can just say air control on. And that fixes the bug automatically, but it has the side effect of letting me control myself in the air. Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't let you control yourself too badly, though. You know what? Let's leave the air control in. Okay, I wanted to get into some code, but apparently I don't need to. Darn. So the bug is unfortunately fixed already. So now let's try adding some fog. Because the whole premise of the game, there needs to be fog. So let's actually apply the prefab. Yes. Anyhow, I'm going to add some fog. I've never actually added fog to a game before, so this should be fun. You get to see my problem-solving process. So, fog. No, it's not going to be under layout. Okay. Oh wait, effects, new. Huh, you would think that a 3D game engine would come with fog. Well, no matter. Step 1 of my problem-solving process involves going here. Hi, Mom. Step 1 of my problem-solving process involves this website right here. So, Unity fog. Oh, and that I didn't even read anything, and I just remembered that the camera object is what controls the fog. So let's see here. Where is fog? Yes, Levi? Oops, I just revealed your real name. Well, you did. Oh well. Doesn't look like fog appears to be an option. What does field of view? No, I already know what field of view does. Field of view does this thing. It zooms in and out. And now I forget the original value. I'm sure there's a way, so. Global fog, image effect. It is image effect reference. Could this be like what? Okay, let's try looking around in here. Wait. Oh, adding fog. Somebody's already asked this question. Edit render settings. So, wow. It's just under settings. Okay, those instructions must have been for an old version of Unity. Let's go under here. Fog might be located here. Oh, Okay, this is where I can find a bunch of graphical settings. Well, that's not very helpful. There's no fog here. I might end up needing to make my own fog, but I doubt it. Like Unity distance fog. Because the idea behind fog in a game is usually to obscure distant objects and increase the frame rate. But if I implement the fog on my own, I won't be obscuring anything. Well, I mean, I will be obscuring anything, but Unity will still be drawing things behind the fog, thus making the fog kind of useless. Well, I mean, it does serve a gameplay purpose, but... What? You're kidding. That can't be... I swear to God. Where is render settings? I don't see render settings. So let's try Unity 5 render settings. I mean, Unity 5... Oh, look! See? Can't find render settings. I'm not crazy. Window lighting. Under scene. Alright. Now maybe I can find fog. Found fog. But it's just a binary on and off value. Do I have a Steam message? Okay. I shouldn't show Steam messages on the stream. That's a privacy issue. The fog is not close enough. And I want the fog to be able to get further and closer. So, Unity, change fog distance. The far clip plane. Far clip plane setting on the camera. Don't tell me that was removed too. Oh, clipping planes. So I can reduce this value and whoa. Like, if I really want to see the effects of the fog. Oh, okay, right here. Right here is the visual range. That's how far the camera can see. And for some reason, it's not treating distant things as fog. Instead, it's just simply not rendering them. Although, I suppose I could write a script that automatically puts some fog right in front of the distance plane. Maybe. But I'm looking to do it the right way. So, for some reason, the fog is not appearing. So let's open the lighting window again. Fog is on, so I don't know what your problem here is, Unity, but I'm probably not following the directions correctly. No, the fog is not supposed to be an object yet, although I am considering making the fog an object if it comes down to it. Often, in game development, you do need to do things the quote-unquote wrong way, because the right way doesn't exist yet, if that makes sense. So, increase the... There is no increasing the fog to my liking, Mr. Yahoo Answers. Light maps, object. Renderers, no, nothing. I am probably just going to need to make a fog object. Which is, you know, fortunate and unfortunate. It's fortunate because I get to write some code. It's unfortunate because I have to write some code. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, tell Levi hi. My mom says hi, and she's not where she can chat. She cannot connect to Twitch because she does not have a Twitch account. And also, her messages are on my screen for everybody to see. Hi, Mom. Anyhow, I need to create a fog object, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'll make it a plane. And it's going to be a child of the player object. This means that wherever the player object moves... Oh, wait a minute, that's... Hi. What a child... Well, right now, before I explain that, I need to fix this error. Okay. What a child object is, it's an object that follows another object. And so right now, this plane that I've added to my player object is following the player object. It's almost as if it is a part of the player object. That's why you can see under here the camera is underneath the player, because the camera is a part of the player object. It's a sub-object, a sub-game object, a child object. So this plane is going to be attached to the player object, and it will be always facing this way. Oops, that's not what I wanted to rotate. Wanted to rotate this. And actually no, I can just change the numbers here and get it precise. -90. You know when you have that feeling when you want to rotate an object by -90 degrees? That's what I just did. I can't remember if Sparks... I don't think the Spyro engine had the concept of parent and child objects, but Sparks does, in fact, follow Spyro everywhere. But I think... I don't know. Well, at some point, Sparks detaches from Spyro to pick up gems, right? And... Okay, you know what? You're kind of right. You're kind of right. Anyhow, I need to make sure that this plane is taking up everything that it needs to take up. Oh well, I can just make the plane ridiculously huge. And then I can write some code that will automatically adjust the plane's distance to match with the clip plane, the far clip plane. So I'm going to do that really quick. I'm going to create a new folder called scripts. First off, this is where I'm going to put all my scripts. And I'll call this fog behavior. You'll see why I called it fog behavior and spelled it that way in a minute. So now I'll open this file. I said I'll now open this file. Close this one. Okay. What I'm doing now is I'm creating a script, and this script defines a component. First, I should explain what a component is. In order to explain what a component is, I need to explain what a game object is. So first, let me just hide this really quick. I've already explained what a game object is, but I'll reiterate it because some people were not online. But you can probably watch it when I re-upload it to YouTube. But anyway, a game object is just any object that is inside the game and has some kind of position. The position is called a transform. A game object's behavior is decided by components that you attach to it. So for instance, the rigid body component makes the object obey the laws of physics, like that thing is. Doink. And a collider component, like a box collider, gives the object solidity. It makes the object solid. Watch what happens when I disable the collider component. It just falls right through. And so basically, creating things in Unity is just attaching components to game objects to do the things you want. Also, the sprite renderer right here, which determines what it looks like, that's also a component. And so there are a bunch of components built into Unity, but I can also make my own components by writing code. And that's what I'm doing right now. So this script, I should say, will be attached to the fog game object, and it will automatically adjust its distance to... Actually, how about instead of adjusting its own distance, it will... Okay, here's what it's going to do. First, let me rename this. I'll add the component right now. What this is going to do is it's going to adjust this value right here automatically based on how far away it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable which stores a decimal value called distance, and it will store the distance, the fog distance. And then I need to have another variable that refers to the camera object, because I need to be interacting with these numbers right here, and I can't do that from this script unless I have a way of talking to the camera object, the camera component. So that's what I'm doing now. Public camera, my camera. And so now this right here is called the update event, and any code that I write in here, any instructions that I write in here will be called every frame. It just means everything here is being constantly run. So in this case, I'm going to change the actual position. So dot, I should say local position because it's relative to the player's position. Dot z, it's going to be the z-axis, equals distance. And so now every frame, wait, oh, I actually need some, let me change the, actually, u vector 3, 0, 0, distance. That's just going to put it that far away from the player. And I'm actually changing the whole vector, not just the component of the vector. And so now the distance by default is 0. So which means that it's so close I can't even see it. I'm like looking right through it. So I'm going to change the distance. Actually, I'm going to show you what happens when I change the different distance while the game is running. Just set the distance to, okay, before I do that, let me set this to a better volume. Now you can see everything. You're not supposed to see everything yet, but don't worry. I can set my fog distance to 5 now, and the fog will be 5 units away from the player. Or I can set it to 4, and now it's even closer. It's already pretty close, actually. And for those of you just joining the stream, Mom, the fog is a very important part of the game because it's going to be something of a horror game. You're not supposed to be able to see very far forward. It's also supposed to make it harder to look for a key. But anyhow, in order to improve the frame rate, I need to adjust the clip plane right here, which will make it so that anything behind the fog is not going to be rendered. So I'm going to do that right now. Add a comment. I should have done this when I first wrote this line of code. And now update the camera clip plane. So now my camera dot, let's see here, far clip plane, hey, equals distance. It's that simple. Far clip plane equals distance. So now every frame, every time the game updates the frame, it's going to change the... Oh, crap. Actually, hang on. Unassigned reference exception. I know how to fix that one. See, right now, any variables that I create up here in my script will appear in the inspector right here, so I can tweak it without going into the code file. What I failed to do was I failed to point my camera to the correct camera. So all I'm going to do is drag it right here, and now this variable is filled with a reference to that camera, and now it should be able to do that. Okay, that's not right. Screen position out of view frustum. Where is this being called? Oh, I bet it's because my distance is 0 and that's causing errors. It probably is not allowed to be 0. And I was correct. And now I'm noticing that the fog is not... It looks like the fog is being cut off by the fog, if that makes sense. So I'm going to just make it so that you can see, so that it will draw 1 meter past the fog, so that way we can actually see the fog. And poof, now it works. It doesn't look very good, obviously. I'm not quite sure how to fix that. It is a tentative solution. But the cool thing about the way I have it set up now is all I need to do when I shrink the fog is just shrink that. Actually, you know what? I'll make the fog shrink. Bye, Mom. I'll make the fog shrink right now. Public float shrink speed. And it will shrink by... you know what? I'm going to start a different thing. Public float max distance. We'll say 100. We'll change it later. You know what? I'm going to make it private so that way I won't be able to accidentally change this variable from another script. Private float max distance 100, min distance equals 0.1. So now I'm going to modify this. So now we just say if distance is greater than max distance, distance equals max distance. If distance is less than max distance, distance equals min distance. Oops, this needs to be min distance. Okay. That will limit the fog distance, and so now I won't have that division by 0 error either. And now I need to actually make it shrink. So I'm going to have the shrink speed be private too. Actually, no, it'll be a shrink time. Or wait a minute. Here's the thing. I'm going to create a shrink time variable, and it will, and from there it will calculate the speed. No, that's not a good way to do it. Instead, I'll just do shrink speed for now. I can change it later. Public float shrink speed. And we'll say it equals like 0. Small number, because we want it to happen over a long period of time. So now I'll shrink the fog. I'll do this by saying distance minus equals shrink speed. And now it's important that I multiply it by this number right here, time.delta time. That's just the amount of seconds in between this frame and the previous frame. So I'm multiplying the speed by the time to get the change in distance. That's all. So now it should be shrinking. Slowly. Yep, I can see it moving. It's engulfing the arrow. Slowly engulfing the arrow. It's moving too slowly. Let's change it to 1. Nope, that's too fast. That's kind of why I wanted it to be like a sort of time limit. Yeah, I'll set the time instead, because then I'll be able to more accurately balance it, I should say. So, shrink time. And we'll say, how long should the fog power up last? You know what? Maybe the lantern that I'll create later should be what determines. Should I haven't really thought about how exactly the fog should behave, have I? Oh, let's see here. Give it a shot if you want to. This ain't a tutorial, though. This is for entertainment. Anyhow, yep, it does look really cool. Shrinking the distance. I guess for now, we can say that it takes 10 seconds. Let's say that takes 30 seconds to shrink for now. And then I'll make a private variable called shrink speed. And then it will automatically calculate at the start of the game What on earth? My indents aren't lining up right. Anyway, it will automatically calculate at the beginning of the game how quickly it should shrink. So that would be it should be shrink speed equals max distance minus min distance divided by time. This is why you pay attention in math class, kids. And so now it should take... That did not take 30 seconds. That was... My math might have been wrong. This is why you go to math. Why is it shrinking so quickly? That is not 30 seconds. Oh, no. Strange. It should be changing the distance by the shrink speed. I'm going to find out what exactly shrink speed is. Because by my math, it should be like what? It should be 100 minus 0.1 equals that divided by 30. The shrink speed should be 3.33. So, debug.log shrink speed. And if it isn't, actually I should move the debug.log here so it only displays once instead of every frame. Now I look at the debug console. It's correct. What? It should be moving at a speed of 3.33, and it is. But it should be taking 30 seconds. It's not taking 30 seconds. Oh, that's why. It's because it's not 100 things away. The distance right now is not the maximum. Now it should take 30 seconds. So now let's watch for 30 seconds as the fog gets closer and closer. In retrospect, 100 might have been too far of a distance. And look how quickly, it still looks like it moves too quickly. So I'm going to increase the minimum distance to like 5. Or, yeah. Let's increase the minimum distance to 5. And the maximum distance as well should be reduced to, what, 50? Something like that. I might need to make the room bigger just so I can see the fog. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Whoa! Here's the fog. This is actually going to get in the way. It's going to get in my way when I'm editing the levels. So I need to find a solution for that at some point. Go away, fog. Here we go. Hey, what on earth? Why can't I rotate my camera? Okay. There. Here's the fog. Fog should be getting closer. Oh no, I made the fog invisible. Whoops. Okay, let's fix that problem right now. I'll make the fog invisible in the editor, but I'll have some code that runs right at the beginning to make it visible. So, make fog visible. I need to get the mesh renderer. So, get component mesh renderer dot enabled equals true. What this does is it obtains a reference to the mesh renderer component, and then it modifies its enabled value. And that's it. So now you're going to be seeing lots of get component if you watch me code. And I appear to have set the distance too far. Oh, there it is. There's the fog. Oh my god. It's still moving so fast. I think in retrospect, 30 seconds was a bit too long. Well, let's change... Hang on. This is just some temporary thing that I'm adding right now. That way, I won't be... Yeah. That way I can just change the max distance inside here without updating it inside Unity. So, max distance... No, distance. Hey, not true. Distance equals max distance. Max distance is no longer 50, it is now 20. Now let's see here. Now the fog is moving much more slowly. Now I get the feeling that you can actually sort of make use of the lack of a fog while still yeah, you can make use of the fact that you have no fog while still... Hang on. I just realized that the fog is not rotating up and down with the camera. I should instead have the fog attached to the camera object, not to the player object. And so now, the fog rotates up and down with the camera instead of with the player. A subtle difference, but an important one. I must say though, I am not pleased with how the fog looks. So I don't know, maybe I can do some things to make it look better, I don't know, but we'll worry about that later. Well, yeah, this is what objects look like when they're in the fog. Oh wait, hang on. I don't like that. No, I don't like the fog rotating like that, so let's not have the fog do that. Yeah, this looks more like real fog anyway. It's just... And then I'll just have to make sure that the fog is, in fact, ridiculously huge. I need to make sure that it doesn't go all that it goes all the way past the ceiling. Let's make it visible so I can edit it. Where is it? There it is. Stretch it up so high. And at this point, I think it's a good idea to apply my prefab. And alright, so now I don't have to worry about the fog not being high enough. Look at it slowly creep in. Yes. And I'll have to adjust how fast the fog moves later anyway. So for now, let's add the lantern object. I'm going to start drawing now. So I'm just going to draw a sprite here. I don't need to do, I hope I don't need to do much explanation while I'm drawing. If I need to explain what drawing is, then I'm afraid there's no helping you. Why can't I make it transparent? Let's make it transparent. Oh, fill with. Transparency. And I think I made this image too big. Yeah, let's scrap this, make it like 100 by 100 pixels. I really never know how big to make sprites. And I'll add a temporary layer filled with white for the background. Need to see the layers, okay. And then yet another new layer. This one's filled with transparency. This is what I'm actually drawing on. Let's go. And then when I'm done, I'll just delete the white layer. That is a huge pixel. That's a much better pixel. So okay, 100. 100 is pretty small. Lantern. What should the lantern look like? It can look like crap for now because yeah, we can just make the lantern look like I know, lamp oil. You won't collect lanterns. You'll be collecting lamp oil. And I'm just drawing this extremely sloppily because I know I'm going to go back and make it look better later. Right now, I'm just focusing on getting all of the gameplay functionality working. And I won't be able to get it all finished today on this stream, obviously. This is just episode 1. Like, why am I keep saying I'm going to make it look like crap, and then I get distracted by the details like this. This is what a lamp oil thing looks like, right? Yeah, that's totally a lamp oil thing. Totally. I'll make it gray. Add some shading, because we're getting fancy now, apparently. And then make this a different color. Should this be darker or lighter? I'm going to make it darker. And then I'll add a kind of shiny thing to it right here. even though it's supposed to be a dark mansion and there wouldn't be any light shining on it. Okay, there's my lamp oil thing. Crop it so it didn't need to be that big. Oh yeah, I said crop it, so let's... Oi, I said crop to selection. Don't you talk back to me, GIMP. Layer, crop to selection. Image, crop to selection. There we go. Now I'll just delete that white layer, merge this layer down, export, and where's my documents? Where is it? It's Fog Mansion. There we go. Assets. Gonna make a new folder. Sprites. We'll call it lamp oil item. Export. Alright, now I should be able to this fog should still be hidden. I should be able to create a new object, and I'll call it the item object. Alright. What am I doing? I am going to create I'm going to create a lamp oil object now. Sprites. Whoa, okay, that's not what I wanted to do. We are now in lamp oil world. And it's scary. It's scary as hell. Okay, but that was not intentional at all. So, instead, we're going to... Actually, we'll just create an empty game object. Call it oil item prefab. I'm going to make a prefab out of it. And we'll add sprite renderer. It's not appearing on the list, but that's okay. I can just drag. And what? Okay, I need to specify that this is a sprite, not a texture. And now, oil item, bing. Now where is my oil item? Oh, it's right there. But you'll notice that it doesn't billboard towards the player correctly. I have a few ideas on how to do that. Either there is a built-in component that will do that for me, or I can make my own component. So let's see here. Let's try... no. Wait a minute, what about the particles? I know there's a particle system in Unity. Oh, well, that's no. It's not going to help. Canvas renderer isn't what I'm looking for. I'm going to go to my trusty friend Google again. What's it called? Unity Billboard Sprite. Okay, it looks like it doesn't. I'm making my own. Yay. Scripts, we'll call this script billboard behavior. Reload all. And so this is just going to make it automatically rotate towards the camera. So I'm going to be reusing this script a lot, so I think I should make no, I shouldn't do that. I need to obtain the location of the camera from the script, and that's a little bit tricky in Unity. And I can't just do the click and drag thing like I did earlier, because then I'd have to do that every time I created a billboarded object, and I'm not going to do that. So instead, I'm going to change this to awake. Private transform camera. A transform object, or a transform component? Okay, a variable that has the data type transform means that it's a reference to a transform component. Every game object has a transform component, and the transform component contains information like its position, its rotation, and its scale. And I can modify those through code, or I can access them. Anyhow, I need to get a reference to the camera object, so object.find component. I'm just looking through my options here. Let me check the documentation. Let's see if it works for the camera. I can't remember if find objects of type will work on components or not, but I think so. And this should get the transform of the camera. Oops. That was not the correct way to call a function. There we go. And now, oh, that's not going to do anything. What am I testing? I'm testing nothing. What I meant to do was fix my curly brackets, get the camera, and now in the update event, rotate toward the camera. Make sure you spell the comments wrong. That's important. So I can achieve this just by saying transform.lookAt and then camera. Boom. Simple. I hope. And it looks like I forgot to attach the component. Indeed I did. Boink. Billboard behavior. There we go. So now even though I'm under it, and to the side of it and whatnot, it's always facing the correct way. Except it is kind of flipped. Yeah, it's not... It's always facing the right way, but it's flipped. And I don't want it flipped. So why could that be? That's because the forward is on this side. Interesting. I can just say transform.forward equals... Just reverse the forward vector. I'm not going to... I'll explain vectors at a later date. But for now, just know that vectors are magic. They're math and magic combined. And there we go. Now it's facing the correct way. And everything. It's all good. So now I want this oil lamp to be collectible. First thing I gotta do... Well, I don't gotta do this, but I'm going to. I'm gonna give it some physics. Wait. Is that a good idea? We'll see. It might not be, but we'll find out. Going to add a collider, or sphere collider, actually. Need to make sure that the laws of physics don't actually rotate it, because it's supposed to rotate on its own, like that. There, now it's on the ground, and I can push it, which I don't, that's not ideal, but that's alright. I won't be able to push it once I'm able to collect it. So let's add the code that collects it. To do this, I'm going to want to create yet another script. The player behavior. And this is going to be the script that controls almost everything on the player. Everything except that, what I just hid. Pretend that's not there. Player behavior script. I'm getting hungry. I think I'm going to end the stream at 7:30 so I can have some ramen noodles. So I guess the last thing we'll finish in today's episode is... Yeah, the last thing we'll finish today is collecting this thing. So, for now, we'll say we need to add a collision enter event. Void on collision enter. Actually, no, on trigger. Oh, dang it, I don't know. Is it trigger or collider? What should I do? Let's go with trigger for now and see if that works. On trigger enter collider other. This event will now fire anytime I enter a trigger. Anytime the character's collider enters the trigger, or a trigger. Actually, since this is solid, it's not a trigger, so I should actually use collision. So now, anytime the player object collides with anything with a collider, a solid collider, the code inside here will run. first thing I need to do is make sure that it collided with the lamp, or the oil. So I'm going to need to create another component, lamp oil behavior. Ignore, do not reload because we haven't saved. Lamp oil needs to have that. We only really have that so we can, actually, you know what? It's a better idea to... Okay, I did the right thing in creating the player behavior, but I'm not doing the right thing in putting this event inside player behavior. No, I'm putting it inside lamp oil behavior. Basically, any collectible items that I create, I'm going to have the code that handles their collection inside each item's behavior, not inside the player's behavior. Because otherwise, the player script is just going to get so huge and complicated, and it's much simpler to do it this way. So, void on trigger, nope, collider, enter, collision, on collision enter, my bad. I think that's wrong, but oh well. Get rid of this comment, it's wrong. We first need to check to see if the object we're colliding with is the player. So, and we'll also add parameter distance bonus. It will add 10 to the distance, to the fog distance. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, I'll explain it after I do it, how about that? Actually, I need to check something. Collision. Okay, yeah. That's correct. So, let's see here. Let's take a look at the collision object. And see what's inside of it. Alright, we're going to say call.gameObject.getComponent and this is going to get the player behavior attached to whatever object we collided with. But if there is no player behavior attached to it, then it won't register. It will return null. So what we just need to do is if player equals null. And so now if it's null, wait a minute, no. If it's not equal to null, if the player is not equal to null, that means that the object we're touching is a player, and we should increase the player's fog distance. Hey, what are you doing? Ah, stop that. The player behavior should have... We need to be able to access the player behavior's fog object, fog component, so... We can just say this player.myFog.distance plus equals distance bonus. Add to the distance, and then destroy this. This way, when we collide with the lamp oil, we will add to the distance and then destroy the lamp oil, so we don't keep adding it. So, GameObject.destroy. GameObject.destroy. Why isn't autocomplete working? Oh well. Destroy this .GameObject. That should destroy it. Now let's see what errors I got, because I'm sure I got some. Oh, whoa, I just thought of one right now. Needs a reference to myFog. Alright, now let's see if it pushes the fog back. Here comes the fog. Just gotta let it get closer so I can see the results. And poof! The fog is further now. It worked. Okay. I was afraid I would have to end it on a cliffhanger. Well, that's the episode for today. So just to recap, today we created the basic player object, and we created the fog, and we created the lantern, or the lamp oil. And that's it. See you next week at 6 o'clock on Friday.